Happy Tuesday. Thank you all for joining today. Often during the holidays, we are very busy with many events and activities, and we try to keep up with the hustle and bustle of this season. And sometimes even individuals can get overwhelmed and they may experience something called the holiday blues. Professionals define the holiday blues as temporary feelings of anxiety or depression during the holiday season. And this is brought on by increased shopping, social events, and the pressure of the expectation of a good holiday. Often these feelings can come from missing a loved one who may not be around this holiday season, or even negative feelings from a past holiday. The American Psychological Association finds that 14% of Americans experience the holiday blues. And according to the National Alliance on Mental Illness, 64% of Americans say that the holidays make their mental health worse. When these folks surveyed were asked how their stress levels increased during the holiday season, many expressed that the lack of time, the lack of money, the increased commercialism, and the increased family pressures caused a lot of their stress. So, how do we know if we have the holiday blues? Well, here are some possible symptoms: tiredness, lack of energy or lack of motivation, tension, frustration, loneliness or isolation, sadness, or a sense of loss. More than ever during this time of year, we need to prioritize ourselves. We often hear about taking me time, and we should. If we are constantly giving to others, how will we replenish ourselves? One way that you can fill up your cup is to say no and put boundaries in place. Don't be afraid to say no and be respectful of your own limitations and schedule. Your days do not have to be filled with holiday events if you don't want to. And if you do need a little me time, stand your ground and allow yourself to have that space to unwind and relax. You can also say no to spending money if it doesn't fit in your budget. The holidays aren't meant to spend hundreds of dollars on gifts and foods. It's about taking time with your loved ones and spending that quality time together. And saying no also includes alcohol. There are often pressures to increase drinking during this time of year, but if you know that excess alcohol affects your mental well being, it's okay to decline. And we want to continue staying healthy during this season. And with that being said, we know the holiday season can bring reminders of those we have lost throughout the past, and it's vital that we take time to remember and grieve properly. Crystal is going to talk more with us about grief and loss during the holiday season. Hey.
Hi. Holidays are typically a time for togetherness and celebration. When you are experiencing grief, it can be emotional or even painful to be with others and try to have a festive spirit. It is important to remember that grief is a natural response to loss. Everyone's journey looks different depending on the intensity of that loss. So let's talk about some typical symptoms of grief. Grief impacts us physically and emotionally. Crying, fatigue, difficulty sleeping, and unexplained body aches can all be symptoms of grief. Some typical emotional responses to grief can include overwhelming feelings of sadness, excessive worry, frustration, anger, and even feelings of guilt. These feelings can contribute to a sense of isolation, depression, and anxiety. It is important to recognize these signs in order to develop a plan that includes self-care, support, and the consideration of grief counseling to promote healing and moving forward. For some other signs and helpful tips, please check out our link and our NAMI website. Back to you, Courtney.
Thanks for sharing, Crystal. And it's very helpful to know that what these signs are so we can help others who are struggling and also know what those resources are. So now we're going to head into our self-care corner and we're going to talk with Sherry about handling our own grief and loss. Hey, Sherry.
Hi, Courtney. So today I want to talk about grief. Some of the things, every griever has 3 needs: to find the words about their grief, to say the words out loud, and to know the words have been heard. So during this holiday season, talk about your loved one. Sometimes others are afraid to bring their name up and don't know what to say. So start a conversation about what special tradition or favorite part of the holidays were for your loved one. You are not alone in your grief. And a final thought, do what you need to for yourself and not what others expect of you. Have a great Tuesday and see you next Tuesday at 2.
Thanks for sharing, Sherry. Some great tips as always, especially on how to help ourselves during this holiday season.
Yes.
Well,
And you can miss more than just your family. You can also miss your pets.
Very, very true. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that is all that we have for today. So thanks for coming on, and tune in next week. We're going to talk a little bit more about the holiday blues. So have a great Tuesday, everyone.
There must have been some